Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Gnomoria here in Devil Dagger. In between episodes, I went ahead and set up some stockpiles for some various things. We got pine logs here, some birch logs, orange wood, and apple wood logs. Right now we don't have a steady supply of apple and orange wood because I'm using those for food. I also laid down some floor tiles through our stockpile. That's just basically to give us a pathway for our gnomes, even though the gnomes completely ignore it. But over here, you'll see I set up the masonry workshop. It doesn't have any of the flooring or anything set up like that. I just have the workshops themselves actually set up. The priority for the stonecutter is 3. That's so that it is below priority of the stone carver, and that is below the priority of the stone mason. The reason for that is because I would prefer the miners or the masons, whoever it happens to be, to work here first, then here if there's anything to do, and then lastly here. And if there's nothing else to do, they will go and work on hauling or building some stuff around the fort. Finally getting some crates set up over here. I moved some of the crates around here just to kind of clear some stuff up, make it a little bit more organized. I'm actually going to push these barrels over here eventually, once I clear this stock room up a little bit. Speaking of stocks, an important aspect of the game is actually pulling stocked goods from one stockpile and putting it in another. So I want them to pull all the orange wood logs from general goods and put them here. Same thing for all the rest. Just pull it all from the general goods. That way, if it does go to the general goods, it'll be pulled here, forcing that way our carpenter doesn't actually have to go that far. And you can see all of our gnomes are moving some things around for us. Good, good. Let's see. We could focus on trying to get the value of our kingdom up, which is sitting at a nice 6,310. It's not too bad. Our mines are looking all right, and there's the auto save. Speaking of the mines, let's go ahead and build some wall torches down here. That way we don't have anything trying to sneak up on us. Go ahead and get that set up. That. And that should just about do it. It should give us plenty of light. I might fill this in considering it's just dirt and there's no real reason to keep dirt around. Unless I use dirt more as a placeholder, kind of like this wall here. I know that I won't keep this wall here, but I may use it as a basis for how I want things to be shaped in the future. Thinking about the design of the fort, I've actually decided that I want to try and use all the way up to about here. So the wall will be coming out to about here. And that'll give us access to these immigrants coming in from this side, as well as raiders. They'll come up, go over this hill here, come down, and then be forced through the front gate here. In a previous episode, I also mentioned that I would be building a tower here, which unfortunately we're not quite there yet. Our stockpile of stone is actually pretty low. Let's go ahead and go work on that a little bit. Grab this, and we'll go 10 because in between each of these struts or supports, I have 10 spaces. And as you can see, there's not much stone here, so there's really no point whatsoever in trying to mine all of it. Let's just get what we can. Obviously, the majority of this is going to be dirt, which is perfectly fine. I mean, I have no problem with that. I will probably end up replacing this flooring, digging it up. That way I can get a little bit more stone. Go out to here. We'll grab this. See how far this actually lets me go back. We'll just take this whole chunk right here. Our miner's getting to work. That's the great thing about specialization. Yeah, we might only have one gnome doing it, but this gnome is really good at mining, so it goes exceptionally quick. And then hopefully somebody will come down here and collect that stone relatively quickly. We can go ahead and deconstruct these over here, because we have 2 stone cutters. We actually need to set them up so that they are crafting 10 marble blocks for us. And the reason why I have 2 stone cutters is because when you start to do big projects and you're using a lot of blocks, it can take a while if you only have 1 stone cutter, and that's because you only have 1 gnome that's outputting the blocks, and as soon as they output a block, somebody else has already come and grabbed it, and so they're just stuck sitting there over and over, and sometimes the gnomes will actually pass out from exhaustion just from sitting in that one spot and working over and over again. Alright, but I think what I want to do is go ahead and have our miners come out here and remove these ramps up to this point. That way we can work on our expansion. We're probably not going to be expanding anytime soon out into this region, but I would just like the area prepared for us when we do decide, because our groves are probably going to be in this back section here. We'll have our farms in the middle, and then we'll have our animals kind of lining in an L-shaped right here. Now there are ways that you can lower or elevate your animal pastures, but all of the pastures do have to have grass on them, and so if you try and... I actually had one kingdom where I had the pastures in a vertical tower, and the yaks were on the bottom, the emus on the 2nd level, and the alpacas were on the 3rd level, and it's a pain to try and do that because you have to get grass to grow, and due to the fact that we don't have many mountains on this map, it would be pretty difficult. We could probably do it right here, but I don't think we're going to be doing that on this kingdom. But this is a really good area for a tower. It would be really nice to kind of carve out a tower right here for defense, as well as this one over here. And we'll probably have we have a honey badger. The honey badger is trying to give us an attitude. Nope, don't fight the honey badger. They're pretty vicious. Okay, honey badger, go on about your day. We don't want no trouble. Alright, cool. Honey badger is gone. Why haven't we gotten a merchant in a while? Our merchant hasn't come. Oh, that would be because we don't have our ambassador anymore. I'm not sure what happened there. Not sure why the ambassador... Yep, one of our gnomes is taking this bedroom. Go figure. Alright, well, we will wait for the ambassador to arrive. Hopefully that won't take too long. Let's see here. Got a bunch of furniture just sitting here. I guess the next thing we can do is we can start work on the blacksmith, but the first thing I want to do is try and figure out how I want this mine to be shaped, because I would like it to keep this section here if I can. Let's see. 6 and 8. And we have 8 here as well. So what we need then is another 6 right here. And then another 4. And what we're gonna do there is we're using that it's basically just a central area. I'm not actually going to put any rooms in this central meeting, but what I would like to do is have it so we actually need a wall right here. Aw, dang it. And it doesn't look all that promising right now, but that's okay. Like I said, it's more of just to know that this is the center, because if you look, it goes almost all the way up to the top. So if I wanted to add some stairs or something right here so that our gnomes could traverse the different levels, we would be able to. Let's see, how do we want to set up the blacksmith? We'd like our blacksmith to be in relative proximity to the mine, because that's where the majority of the metal is going to be coming from. Another thing to keep in mind is you want your blacksmith to be pretty close to the carpenter, because they actually create all the hilts for all of the weapons. So I think I'm gonna put a cut in here, guys, and I will lay out the room for the blacksmith, and I will bring you guys back when I have all of that set up. Welcome back, guys. Looks like in the middle of our excavation we had some goblin raiders that decided to join the party. Looks like it's 3 goblins, 1 with a goblin fighter who has a worn copper hammer. Now the worn copper hammer probably isn't going to hurt us too badly, because the hammer is a blunt instrument and it's better against armor. So let's see how our gnomes do. All 3 have been spotted. Everybody's moving in. 1 has died. The other 2, there goes the other 2. And right back to training. Didn't even stop. Somebody's coming to butcher the goblins, but I have moved some of the blacksmith's workshops into the area that I'm carving out for him. The forge and the smelter, and that's because that's really the only 2 that we can create. We do have our furnace down here. I realized that a blacksmith does smelt the logs into coal. However, I much prefer to keep the smelter near the groves than I do to actually have the furnace in the blacksmith area. 1, because it takes up, 9 more tiles, which means I have to dig more. And 2, because I like to add the realistic aspect that nobody's gonna like all that smoke from that coal being made from logs. So I like to keep that near the groves in a little outside area. That's definitely not its permanent foundation over there, but for right now that's where it's going to stay. But I will go ahead and show you guys how I decide to set up the path that I imagine our gnomes would take. They would come in through here, bring it down through there most likely, and they would also come up through here. And we're gonna have a little path coming around through here. And both our miner and our mason are getting to work. See, produces twice as many stone blocks in the same amount of time. It's so much better to add 2 stone cutters in my opinion. You could also make the same statement for the sawmill, but for the most part, I keep a generally pretty decent supply of logs with just one sawmill, so it's not that big of a deal to me. The next workshop that I want to add to this area is the blacksmith, which I do not remember the requirements for. An anvil, a hearth, and some bellows. And if I'm not mistaken, the anvil is made in the forge, and it takes 8 bars. Wow. Okay, so the next time a merchant shows up, we have got to get some copper, just so we can make an anvil. Because right now that is holding us back. Alright, raise the walls a little bit and see how things are going. Alright, things are starting to take a nice shape. I'm liking how things are looking. I'm actually going to dig away these 2 blocks here. And I think our gnomes would appreciate some statues. Go ahead and make 2 marble statues. Put those in there. Now the story behind the statues, I will never know, but I'd like to imagine that our gnomes have some kind of story that they would share with their children, their grandchildren, and their forefathers about these particular statues. Ah, that's something I need to do. I need to set up the stone stockpile. And for right now, we're gonna have a... This is a little trick I like to use just to split a stockpile, because if you try and draw a stockpile straight across, obviously it's going to hit that whole area and you're going to have gnomes walking through your stockpiles. But if you want your stockpile to be one stockpile but broken up, you can use the guard area to actually split your stockpile. And now if you look, when you click on one, it's both. It's a neat little trick. I'm sure I'm not the first person to ever come up with it, but it was the way that I figured out how to do things. So let's just say raw stone for right now. Oh. And we'll have them pull from the general goods stockpile. For the most part, it is a good idea to name every single one of your stockpiles. That's because eventually you will start to get things confused. I'm not exactly sure where that other stockpile is, so let's find it. Oh, it's the raw dirt. So we'll just rename that raw. We'll just name that dirt. I don't think dirt can be processed into anything. I guess if you add water to it, it's mud, but I don't think that's considered processing. Alright, so we'll get that going. And right in here is going to be our armory. Here is going to be our weaponsmith. Right over here will be our blacksmith. And I'm not going to set up the stockpiles just yet because, one, we don't have anything to store, so there's not much point in it really. And two, I'm not exactly sure how these gnomes are going to be pathing through here. Not in terms of the gameplay, but how I would imagine they would be pathing. I mean, obviously there's a straight line through here, but I'd like to think about how I want the stockpiles to be. I might have it in this back corner here, along here, some along here, just for our arms dealer and our blacksmith to access on the ready. Might be some right here that people could just come in, drop it off, and go on about their business. Go ahead and speed things up. And let's see how much stone we have. Oh, we have a good little bit. Yeah, they pulled a nice bit from this back corner here. Alright. Well, that's coming along rather nicely. Alright, our miners got all of that done as well. Oh, a bear has been spotted. And of course he is right outside our door. Reminds me, I need to set this up to automatically smolt some more items. Let's hope our gnome doesn't try and take on the bear. And he's trying to take on the bear. Okay. Whew. My lord. What part of wrestling a bear is not a good decision do you not get? Like, how could you think that that is a good decision? This is not Legends of the Fall, and you are not Brad Pitt, sir. Oh, our statues are ready. We'll go ahead and put those in the hall so that our gnomes might see them. And we're going to put 2 torches on either side. Give them a bit of light. Now you might be thinking, well, that's pretty pointless. It doesn't add any functional value to the kingdom whatsoever, but it actually helps increase our kingdom value, which one gives us stronger raiders, so it'll make the gameplay a little bit more intense, and it also raises the awareness for immigrants or migrants to show up. So we might get some new gnomes out of it. Obviously 2 statues by themselves probably aren't going to do much unless it was like a platinum statue, which we would have to go pretty far down to do. I'm going to go ahead and fell these trees since we were recently attacked, because that means we probably won't be attacked anytime soon. And we will chop this line here, and that's because we are going to be adding another dirt wall right here, which we can then take down this wall and start moving some of the areas out, expanding the production. But that's gonna have to wait until next time. So until then, y'all have a great one.